I guess what I want to know first is how your childhood progressed to your athletic background today. What did you do starting off, and what influenced you to begin this MovNat movement?
Um, I think to begin with, I'm just like any other human being. You look at kids, and you look at they move, and they have no notion of sports and or competition or rules or fitness. They just move the way the human animal moves. So it starts with that, and it all starts with the same evolution birthright, all of us. Now, luckily, my dad would bring me in the woods, climbing trees, climbing rocks, crawling, pushing my limits, telling me to not fear, telling me to try harder, to not complain. So it gave me that spark. He himself didn't have any preconceived idea um, of what it is to to be fit. But he probably intuitively believed that as a father, that was his role to make his son, to help his son to grow strong. So he gave me that spark. And so my childhood plays were all in the woods always, and I would kind of compete against myself in the sense like trying to jump from higher or climb higher. I would do that. However, my experience with team sports at school, I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that it was all about scoring points, that there was always a referee and stopping the game, and we had to start again. To me, all that was subjective. It was limiting my pleasure. It was limiting my freedom. Everybody was obsessing by scoring, and then they would blame each other for not scoring, stuff like that. And I don't need that. I'm much happier on my own in the woods because I can do what I want. I don't have to prove myself to others, and things like that. So all these are elements that, how to say, shaped my mind, shaped my perception of what are the real reasons. Why is it that I should move? Because that experience with sports at school did not killed my drive to move. It didn't, and I believe that for many people it does. Like many people should be athletic, they should be enjoying movement, but they don't because of the early experience at school with selection, competition, specialization, elitism, and all these kind of things. And I think there's a real, it's a dramatic issue here that is a social issue. And fortunately, I had the intuition that I should be out of that, but at the same time that I should keep on expanding my potential that I knew I had intuitively and that everybody has in themselves. I did some specialized sports later on in my life, starting at age 15 with karate, and I become very competitive and very obsessed with competition and very frustrated when I wouldn't win. And it taught me something valuable. Every specialized sport that I practiced taught me something valuable. But in the end, it also taught me that personally, my choice is to not specialize and to not compete. Because I like to keep on practicing the way I did when I was a kid, with no pressure else than the pressure that is self-imposed when I want to achieve specific goals. Something else also that influenced how I think about health and about fitness, about what I believe is to be strong, is again, the example of my dad, because when I was a kid, he's a tall guy, and he was a strong guy, and he was very authoritarian, and he would be the one to be my early coach, teaching me how to climb a tree, to deal with my fear. At the same time, he had a had a problem with alcohol. So I would see my strong dad coming back home, becoming a weak dad, very dumb and super kind, but also I was disturbed because the same man would become completely different. And then later on, I understood that what was the problem, and I understood that my dad wasn't happy with his life. That he was not following a healthy lifestyle with a very poor diet, and in fact at some point no exercise anymore except from just long walks. And then I thought, I don't want to become like that, because what he had showed to me as a young kid was movement, was freedom, was happiness, and I wanted to stick to that. And so I started to think long term. I started to think, which person do I want to be when I'm in my 30s, in my 40s, in my 50s? So it became more a lifestyle, a concern, a long-term approach than a temporary approach, which would be just, okay, I'm gonna win that game. I started to understand the competitor or the winner on the podium. It's not what I am. What I am is it goes beyond that. We all go beyond a medal or trophy, and because this is very temporary, very subjective in some way. After the competition, what do? You still have to live, and you still have to be happy with what you do. So to me, it's more practice and a lifestyle.